Welcome, Jennifer. We are so excited to have you on the podcast today. How's everything going?
Great. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we always ask our guests, first off, what are you loving right now?
Ooh, good question. So I have decided to put myself through a short coffee break. I know, which sounds terrible, but I am substituting my coffee with golden milk. And I know that this has been around forever and it's nothing new, but I had forgotten about it and relearned about it and made myself a big batch of golden milk. So it's unsweetened almond milk. It's turmeric, ground ginger, cinnamon, and of course the black pepper so that you can activate the turmeric. And it's in my fridge, and I just kind of heat it up one mug at a time as my little coffee substitute. It's nice and creamy and warm in the morning. So I'm really into that right now. What else? I have to talk about my obsession with siete tortillas. And again, that's something else that's not very new, but to me, all of a sudden, I cannot live without my siete tortillas. I'm obsessed with those.
Now, is it the chips as well, or just the tortillas?
You know, I love the chips, but I can take or leave the chips. But the tortillas, I am like tacos and turkey wraps and dipping in hummus and like everything. I want the tortillas every day.
I want the tortilla chips every day, all day. Like the single serve bag is what I refer to it as.
I was like, wait, they have a single serve bag?
Yeah. I was just about to say that. I was like, every time I buy those stinking things, they're gone like that day. Most of it's me, and whatever I don't finish, Alex surely does. They're gone.
They're so good. Now, Jennifer, why are you taking a break from coffee?
You know, I'm just giving my digestive system a break. I actually am giving myself kind of a sugar detox this week. I have been overloading on the sugar. I'm kind of a stress eater, and it's been a little bit of a stressful week. So I have been overdoing it on the sugar. And I don't usually put sugar in my coffee, but I think I just kind of needed a whole system kind of break, and coffee definitely wears on my digestive system a bit. So
Yeah, I noticed a big difference when I switched from having like that first cup of coffee. I switched it out to a Dandy Blend, and just how much happier my gut is doing Dandy Blend first thing. And then
I meant to ask you about that. Yeah, I would love to know where you get your Dandy Blend, because I was looking for something.
Amazon is where I order it from, and you can get a giant like 2-pound bag, which lasts for a long time. And I just make it. I put a little full fat coconut milk in there.
Yeah.
With some collagen peptides. So
does it really taste like coffee?
It does.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I am a pretty legit coffee drinker. Megan knows.
I trust you. I'll have to try it.
Mm-hmm. It is really good. One of the group leaders brought it to our NTP class, and I tried it there for the first time, and it was super good. Yeah. And it's dark and thick like coffee. So it's really good.
That's a big deal, because I was thinking bone broth, and as much as I love bone broth, that wasn't going to do it for me in the morning. And I don't tea in the morning. That's not going to do it. I like the creaminess of the golden milk, but man, I'll have to try that Dandy Blend, because that sounds like it would be a good substitute.
Mm-hmm. It is for sure. Yeah, I guess we should all talk about how we know Jennifer. We just right over that. So Jennifer and I actually met through the NTP class and everything. We were in the same class, but we got together for a study session with Victoria, who is yet to be on the podcast, but it was so much fun just getting to connect with everybody in Dallas.
Yeah, we've got such a good tribe here, and it's growing, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was so fun getting to reconnect when I was in Dallas a couple of months ago.
Yeah, definitely. I love our little NTP get-togethers. We all know where to eat. And
yes. And nobody gives us funny looks when we're asking more questions about the menu.
We don't feel uncomfortable. There's safety in numbers. We're all weird stuff.
Yeah, we're definitely those people. Can I substitute this? And do you have a gluten-free bun to go with that? Or
and I brought my own avocado. Is that okay?
That's right. And if you could cook that in this oil, that would be great. Thanks.
Exactly. That's awesome. All right. So I know today we want to talk about some of the effects of sugar, and especially because you recently just created a online detox program, which we're super excited to dive into and hear all about. But definitely want to just hear you talk a little bit about sugar and how it definitely contributes to leaky gut, right? Which is definitely an immune response. And basically how we can switch gears from being a sugar burner, so running off glucose, to running off those ketones. So those big, long, fat logs in the fire of ketones that just give us that long-lasting energy. So talk to us a little bit about that and kind of what you've discovered doing the sugar detox program.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I don't think it's not unknown that sugar is bad for us, right? Everybody knows that. So I think we can easily skip over the obvious reasons why we should be avoiding sugar, or at least trying to cut it down in our diet. So I like to talk about maybe some of the reasons why we don't realize that sugar is having an effect on us. And like what you just said, sugar is a contributor to leaky gut. And leaky gut is the source of our immune response. And so things like environmental triggers causing an allergic response, so I've got clients who have seasonal allergies, for example, and they go to the doctor and the doctor's like, yeah, you've got seasonal allergies and there's not really much we can do about that. Here, take a Zyrtec every day and there you go, be on your way, good luck. And then they join my sugar detox program, they cut it out, and they start to heal their gut. And within that process, you then you slow down that immune response. You're able to heal from the inside out. And so when you have an external trigger, like it could be a food trigger like gluten or dairy, but it also could be an environmental trigger like cleaning products or pollen. When those environmental triggers enter your body is now more well equipped to handle the immune response. And so it won't flare up quite as easily as if you were experiencing that severe leaky gut. If you've got that dysbiosis, if you've got a pretty severe case of leaky gut, then you're going to have a quick and maybe more intense, more severe immune and allergic response to those triggers. What's cool is that we try obviously to limit our exposure to the external toxins, those external triggers, but we can't completely eliminate all those toxins. And so if we can optimize our internal environment, then it gives us a fighting chance. It gives us a better opportunity to be able to handle the onslaught of toxins that we can't control. The other factor about it is you mentioned becoming kind of a fat burning metabolizer as opposed to relying on glucose for energy. And I find that, a lot of people that go through my program, they are eliminating a major food group, right? So when we do a sugar detox, we do 3 levels, level 1, 2, and 3. And even on level 1, we're eliminating everything that turns into sugar as soon as you eat it. So we're eliminating refined carbohydrates. I'm taking away your bread and your pasta and your crackers. And then even on level 2, I'm taking away grains. And so those can be a major food group for a lot of people. And what I see is that when they take away a huge food group like that, they forget to replace it with more nutrient dense foods that are full of better energy, right? So we know that carbohydrates are a quick source of energy. It gives us glucose. It raises our blood sugar for that quick burning energy, which is definitely not a bad thing. It's a good thing. We need that. However, we don't want to rely on that for our sole source of energy. So when we take a big food group away, I find that a lot of my clients tend to be hungry. And then they're angry at me because they're hungry, and I've taken their bread away, and I've taken their rice away. So it's super important to then add in dietary fats, because those dietary fats are our logs on the fire, just like you said. That's our source of slow burning, long lasting energy. And I think that's such an important component in eliminating sugar and healing from kind of a blood sugar roller coaster. You can't expect to just eliminate sugar and be healed of all your problems. You absolutely have to introduce nutrient-dense foods. You have to regulate and balance your macronutrients. There's a few different steps to actually completing this kind of sugar detoxification process. So the cool thing is that my program walks you through all of the steps, and also provides you with a lot of information on how to move forward with new ideas and new foods to eat, and doesn't just leave you hanging with like, don't eat this, good luck.
Now tell us a little bit, you mentioned that people, they get angry with you and they're hungry, so they're hangry. How do you go about talking people off of that hangry ledge?
Gosh, that's a really good question. There's a couple of different ways that I do that. And one is to talk to them about, are they actually hungry? And this is something that I see a lot, and I see a lot of, I do it myself too, is that you get to that afternoon slump, right? We've been on this blood sugar roller coaster. We're slowly working on becoming more of a fat burning metabolizer, but that takes a while. And we're still kind of riding that roller coaster. So right around 3:00, we hit that low blood sugar, and we're starting to feel anxious and hangry. And for a long time, that's been the habit, right? Every day for a long time, we either reach for the coffee, or we reach for the snack, or, whatever it is, the sugary, that quick burning energy. So we want that easy refined carbohydrate. And then as you start to heal, that habit stays there, and then it's less hunger, and it's more just what we've done every day for the past, months, years, however long. So I try to build that self-awareness. I feel like one of my number one jobs in my career, like with my clients, is to teach them how to listen to their body and to learn how they respond to food. So I ask them to keep that food journal and say, all right, when 3:00 hits, are you actually hungry, or are you reaching for the snacks because it's what you've always done and it makes you feel comfortable, and it's a comforting thing, and you just kind of want that munchy. It's something that you do. And most of the time they say, I was hungry when we first started working together, and now I'm realizing that I'm not having that crash. I'm not feeling nearly as hangry as I used to. So maybe now I just need a smaller snack, or maybe I just need a cup of tea, or maybe a bone broth or something like that. And then they realize it's really fun when they tell me that they're like, oh my God, yesterday it got to be 3:00 and I didn't even realize that it was 3:00. I didn't need anything because I felt like my energy levels were there. So that's kind of, where I like to go with my clients, is one step at a time, is to say, okay, just be mindful. It's okay if you are hungry. Now, if you are hungry at 3:00 in the afternoon, eat something. By all means, don't go hungry. Eat something that's got a good fat in it, and see how you feel afterwards. But don't necessarily go reaching for snacks just because it's something you've always done.
I find some of that too, at least for me personally, when I did have an 8 to 5 job where I was sitting at a desk, I was just bored.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for me, it was more about getting up from my desk, going down to the snack place, visiting a little bit, it was a social hour, buying some trail mix. I wasn't hungry at all. I was just flat out bored.
Absolutely. Right? And isn't it fascinating? Isn't it eye-opening when you realize that's what you're doing?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I didn't realize it until the NTP program.
Nice. Nice. Yeah.
looking back on it and thinking, and it was interesting because when I left that job and just started working for myself, I think I lost immediately 5 pounds.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it was because I cut out the 3 o'clock trail mix habit.
Yeah, just that mindful eating where you're like, am I hungry? And, you know, I tell my clients too, if you're not sure, because sometimes it's hard to tell. Sometimes you're like, I think I'm hungry. Maybe I'm not hungry. I always have a snack at this time. Let's reevaluate. So what I say is like, okay, distract yourself for a minute. Go do something else. Get up from your desk. Take a walk, you know, whatever it is you need to do that's different than what you normally do. And then an hour later, if you're hungry, you're hungry. Again, eat. You know, there's no reason not to eat if you're hungry. So there's also, you know, also the food's not going anywhere. You can always have the food. You can reevaluate at the time that you normally eat and then decide if you really want it.
Mm-hmm. Drink some water. Think about it for a second.
Oh gosh,
That's
right?
a big one.
Water.
Yes, of course. I mean, yeah. And I know a lot of people have heard, you know, when you're hungry, a lot of times it's just because you're dehydrated too. So really be conscious of like your water intake for the day and making sure that you're drinking enough. And then the other thing too that I've noticed, just because Casey and I both do Restart, so kind of the sugar detox is when people are switching over from, okay, I can't have my bread or my rice or my tortillas or my tortilla chips. Like, what am I seriously replacing all this with? Like, what vegetables and like avocado? Like, really? It's so strange. But after a while, I mean, it just takes time to really get used to like, okay, I can like, I feel pretty good. And I had some broccoli with like a little bit of olive oil and a piece of chicken. Like, I don't know what it is. I feel like I should be hungry right now, but I'm not hungry, but I'm like debating if I kind of am. It just takes time to like, you know, okay, yeah, I'm really not hungry. Like I'm cruising. I feel good.
Yeah. It's a hard habit to break, but you're right. It is really refreshing. And when you're like, no, I'm not hungry. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned hydration. I have to tell, this is my fun little tip that I tell everybody. And I don't know why this worked for me, but I have to tell you that when I was working at my desk, I had a Hydro Flask and it was a screw top and it sat on my desk full. And I would never, I mean, for whatever reason, it was like such a chore to unscrew the top, take a drink of water, put it down, screw the top back on. And I did it, you know, every once in a while. I would not drink my water hardly at all. And I switched to this water bottle that has a straw and it's a stainless steel water bottle with a heavy duty plastic straw. And my life changed forever. And that's all it took was this little straw to get me to drink, to sip on water all day long.
I had to buy a pretty water bottle.
Yeah, right. That you're proud of. You're like, that's mine.
Yeah, it was seriously buying a glass water bottle that I thought was pretty and wanted it sitting on my desk. And that got me to drink more water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Isn't it funny what little tricks work?
Yeah. I mean, whatever you find that works for you, definitely just something that you're excited about is what gets people to like keep their water bottle by them. For me, I have like this Ello water bottle that I got off Amazon and it's glass, so no plastic, and it's a pop top. So you literally just push a button and the top pops off. It is so easy. So I just like
and is it a little bit fun? You're like,
yeah, it's super fun. Yeah.
And it's very cute too.
Yeah.
It's my favorite color. It's purple.
Yay, purple.
All right. So
straws. Did you guys see that Starbucks is going to eliminate straws by 2020?
I'm so excited.
Yes.
Awesome.
I had no idea that straws were such an issue until probably just a month or so ago.
It's a big deal. And I'm so happy. I mean, for Starbucks to make that big of a difference, I mean, that big of a change is going to make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I always ex-nay the straws when they bring them to our table at restaurants. I'm like, no, thanks, I'm good. If she's like handing me one, I'm like, no, just drink out of the glass.
Yeah.
So it's small steps. It's small baby steps.
Yeah,
that's right.
So you were talking about the detox program earlier, like kind of how you have like levels. Can you talk to us a little bit more about how your detox program works?
Yes, absolutely. So, it's a pretty comprehensive program. It's 7 weekly meetings, and it includes a prep week and then the 6 subsequent meetings that cover the detox part. So we start with a prep week, which is nice because, when you show up, you don't have to be prepared with anything. You just show up to the meeting, and I give you everything. So it gives you a week to go grocery shopping, to do your pantry purge, however you need to do that. That's one of those, like, I'm closing my eyes, just get rid of all the junk in your pantry, however you need to. And then, kind of get mentally ready. And then we start, and I right now, since my meetings are live, I do them via Zoom conference meetings. And so since they're live with me, I cap it at 10 people because I want to make sure everybody has a chance to get the right attention from me, but also to be able to talk to me about their struggles and their stories, to share recipes with each other. So we've got that prep week. We talk about the 3 levels. And really, you get to choose what's right for you. So we meet you, I want to meet you where you are. I want to make this a sustainable change for you. So I tell my clients, make this challenging for yourself. And you know what that means for you, but don't make it impossible. Don't get to the point where you've got such a lofty goal that you're going to give up in 3 weeks. So I let them choose their levels. It's kind of essentially the rundown is that level 1 is we get rid of all of the refined carbohydrates, the obvious sugars. Level 2 is we add in grains because grains can be a problem for a lot of people. And level 3 is everything on level 1 and 2. And then we add in dairy because that's another common trigger problem food for people. So then, like I said, I give them the guidelines and say, okay, here are the foods that we're eliminating for the next 6 weeks. But then I also, like I said, I don't want to leave them hanging and say, here, good luck. I want to provide a lot of support. So I also say, here are all of the foods that you can eat and all the foods that you should eat. Talk about the importance of a properly prepared, nutrient-dense whole foods diet. So we talk about sourcing good quality protein, vegetables, our seafood, or if you are doing dairy, making sure that you're always getting full fat, good quality dairy. Your fats are super important. So we want to talk about quality oils that you're cooking with. So again, I set you up for success. We go through a goal setting worksheet together, and then I send you off to prepare. And then on the second week, we start the detox together. And every meeting is kind of a combination of nutrition education and support group. So I spend about 30 minutes doing nutrition education, and that essentially covers one of the 6 foundations of nutrition at every meeting. And that includes like worksheets. So it's pretty interactive and involved. I'm not just lecturing at you. And then the next 30 minutes of the meeting is for my clients to talk to me and to talk to each other. I really encourage a tribe because I really feel like the most important part of this detox program is the group accountability and the group support. So we go through struggles and obstacles and temptations, and we share recipes and tips and everything. Usually it's right around week 3 that we're hitting a massive wall. And so that's when I try to bring in the most encouragement as possible, and we really stand by each other. And then there's also a private Facebook group. So in between our meetings, we have access to talk to each other. That's where I love sharing recipes. So we share a ton of recipes. It's really been fun to see how the group members support each other. Because I tell people too, if you're about to jump off that ledge, then you jump on that Facebook group and you tell us and you say, okay, there's donuts in the break room. I really want one and I need some help. And everyone usually rallies around real fast, and they do a really good job of supporting each other, which is really awesome. It's a lot of fun.
I love the group support. We do that I've done that with some of the triathlon people that I've guided through the Restart program. And I mean, it's so cool just to see how people do jump on board. Like there was one lady, I mean, it was every single day her office had donuts or cookies. I mean, cakes. It was ridiculous. ridiculous. But then just seeing, when they kind of make that turn and they're starting to feel good.
Right.
And it's interesting to see, because the first week they're all angry. And like you said, little voodoo dolls.
What did I sign up for?
Yes. And then by the end, they're like, oh, I love you. You were the best person ever.
And you want to be like, I knew it. I knew you were going to feel better.
Yeah, they have like a picture of you on their mantle now.
I had a client in my last group, poor thing, had some seriously challenging coworkers. And it was one thing to have like the donuts and stuff in the break room, which she did, but she also got the verbal, like, howling every day about that fact that she wasn't eating what they were eating and she's eating different and you don't need to lose any weight. Why are you doing this? And, just nonstop heckling. And so the group support is really, really important when you are feel like you're isolated, because you can sometimes. You can definitely feel alone in this health journey because you're eating a little differently than other people.
What advice did you give her to come back to her coworkers?
Oh, what a good question. I always say, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but this came from our class. And I remember in a question and answer session, somebody asked, okay, what do we tell our clients? The same question, how do we support our clients when they are getting such pressure from their friends and family? And I know we've all been through that, right? And I remember there was a group leader that raised her hand and said, don't be weird. and I thought that was hilarious, because if you think about it, it's so simple, and it's not always easy, but it is very simple. If you just don't make a big deal of what you're eating, most of the time other people don't make a big deal of it either. So I told her just to kind of downplay it, to be honest. If they give her a hard time, just say, this is what makes me feel good, and change the subject. And, it only needs that one line of an answer. You don't really have to explain yourself if you don't want to. You say, this is what I'm eating because it makes me feel good. So how's your day? And just move on, And it's not always easy, like I said. And she came back to the group and was like, oh, okay, it's still hard, but I'm glad I have you guys to vent to, and we're taking baby steps forward. So,
yeah. And the wonder that, she was doing for her body with eating the way that she was and making those decisions to not eat the junk in the break room. Like, you always have to keep that in the back of your mind too. Cause a lot of people struggle with like trying to, cut out a lot of foods that they've been really used to their whole life, and they're eating healthier and they're eating cleaner. And you always it's tough when people are like, why all of a sudden are you eating like this? And, why aren't you eating everything that's around? You always just have to keep it in the back of your mind. Like, I'm doing this for me and because it makes me feel really good. And I am so blessed with this knowledge that I've learned on how to eat like this. So you always just have to keep like that bigger, vision in your head. And it's tough because when people are like verbally saying things that are really getting to you, but you just always have to keep it in the back of your mind, like what your vision is and what your goal is and why you're doing it. And know that you have a bigger purpose. Yeah. But one thing,
especially when you start feeling good, right?
Yeah, especially. And that's the other thing on that point. That's another thing that I wanted to ask you. So, we know that sugar is so destructive in our bodies, right? From the standpoint of causing a lot of inflammation, causing a lot of issues with like our processes that happen every day in our body, from our hormones to our immune system to just everything, our mood, our emotions, right? Messing with like all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to ask you, what are some of the struggles that sugar really create in our bodies that you see in your clients specifically? Like when, I know there's a lot of things, but I was just curious, what do you see people really struggling with? And also like their symptoms, like, okay, I'm doing a sugar detox, like, oh man, just their crazy symptoms and what they experience and just kind of how their story goes of feeling better.
Yeah, that's a great question. Most people join the sugar detox for the same reasons. I get often, they want to lose weight, they want to lose body fat, they want more energy, they want to eliminate bloat, and that almost is always what happens. They almost always relieve those symptoms at the end of the sugar detox. So those are the more obvious ones. But at the end of my program, at the last meeting, I always ask 3 questions. The first question is, what goals did you reach? The second question is, what goals did you miss and why do you think that is? And then the third question, which is my favorite, is what results did you see that you did not expect? So these are the ones that I love, because these are the ones that they come in and like you said, Megan, they've got all these symptoms that they didn't even realize that they had, because they came into the sugar detox just wanting to lose weight and feel better. But then all of a sudden they are not taking their allergy medicine anymore, which is crazy. That's the story that I was telling you at the beginning, was that, my last client, or in my last program, she had been taking a Zyrtec every single day. And her doctor was just like, that's what it is. And she stopped taking her allergy medicines and has not needed them since, even since the program has been over, which is amazing. And I've also experienced, a lot of people answer that question with, I didn't realize how I was going to clear up my skin, which is, something that, like, I think most of us know that when you're eliminating sugar, it's going to be helpful everywhere. But I don't think people realize how much of a difference it makes. It's that inflammation, like you said, that systemic inflammation that we've got just affects everything. And so they've got clearer skin, they've got better energy, that bloat has eliminated. One of my favorites is the mental clarity. And I experienced this big time when I cut out sugar. My brain fog lifts, and it's a brain fog that I didn't even realize I had. And then when you get rid of it, when you feel like it's lifted, you just feel clear. And I had a client that told me that she was on the phone at work with one of her clients, and she was amazed at how clear everything was, how she was able to answer their questions, how she was able to solve their problems. And she's like, I haven't had a phone call like that with a client in a long time. She's like, I just feel so mentally clear, which I think is the coolest thing. It's just amazing how quickly we heal. Isn't that cool? How quickly our bodies heal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's amazing.
So it's funny when you were mentioning the mental clarity, I thought about you and I when we were in class and we went and had those acai bowls, and it was so much sugar that we got back to class and our pulses were like, oh my gosh, we feel like it was just the biggest feeling. I know. And we were like, we can't even think right now because we are at such a sugar high.
Such a sugar high and nothing else is working.
Yeah, we just kind of sat there and laughed and took each other's pulses.
I remember that.
Yeah, you were there too, Megan.
Yeah. It was, they were super good, but I remember it's funny because we all knew the importance of your macros, your proteins, your healthy fat, and your vegetables. And so when we literally just ate a giant bowl of candy, pretty much, we all were still hungry, on a sugar high, could not focus, jittery. And it was just well, that was a poor decision, but it was really good.
That's a lesson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Such good NTPs we are.
I know.
But it's so funny because it's, it seems healthy, quote unquote.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. They do a really good job of marketing those things, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, I actually posted recently on my social media about an acai bowl that I had in town. And I was like, all right, here's the thing, you guys. This is what this is, but this is basically my frozen yogurt. If instead of going to get frozen yogurt, I go get an acai bowl, probably about the same amount of sugar, but at least there's some antioxidants and and I'll try to get a scoop of peanut butter in there too.
Some nuts and some coconut.
Yeah, shreds. Maybe that's just me justifying my choices, but
But it's quite amazing when people start cutting out sugar. And like you were saying, it's those foods that people don't even realize break down and turn into sugar in our body, right? Like their breads and their refined carbohydrates and their tortillas that they're having with their breakfast burritos and all that kind of stuff, and what it does to our body. And when you finally start to eliminate that, and you get those sugars out and you start to re-regulate your blood sugar levels, your adrenals start to be able to relax without having to deal with all that cortisol all the time, and your body just gets a break. The results that people see, like you were mentioning, with, just like energy, but even like sleep, like how people can go from being like slightly insomniac to I actually am sleeping and I have no idea what's going on. Like, this is amazing. I wake up in the energy, and I used to not be able to get out of bed. And now all of a sudden I'm like up and working out. Like, it changes people's lives. And I just think that it's crazy because in America, our standard American diet and the foods that we're exposed to literally everywhere, the gas stations, the fast food restaurants, regular restaurants, even grocery stores, like snack foods, these hidden sugars are in everything. So,
it's true.
It's so sad, but the results that people see when they start to cut this stuff out is just incredible. People getting off their medications. I mean, it's really cool. And so it sounds like this is, it's what people experience. So if they could only find these detox programs and do them, right?
Yes. I mean, speaking to what you said about the sugar being everywhere, that's one of the biggest struggles that my clients go through is like when they realize that, oh my gosh, I can't have potato chips because there's maltodextrin in my potato chips. Like, why do you need to add sugar to potato chips kind of thing? And it's in everything. And so a big part of the group aspect of this is being able to share the treasures that we find, like I found these and I found this and we can have this and like go get this and it's awesome. And what I like about that too is that I feel like the demand is now high enough that the companies are listening and we're getting a lot more options. You guys find that? It's a lot easier to find nutrient dense foods that are packaged. Obviously we're not trying to eat all packaged foods all the time, but it's nice to have convenience foods that you feel good about. And I think that companies are actually listening and giving us more options, which is awesome.
Now, Megan mentioned being able to find sugar detoxes. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about two things, your next detox and then the online program you were developing?
Yes, absolutely. So my next one in its current format is going to start on September 6th. So that will be with me weekly every Thursday evening at 6 p.m. Central, and it's via Zoom, so it doesn't matter where you live, you can join us. Like I said, 6 weeks long, starts on September 6th. And then my ultimate goal for this program is to get it to as many people as I can get it to. So what I'm working on is developing an entirely online self-paced version of the program. And that's for people, obviously who can't maybe make it to live meetings, and people who maybe feel like they want that kind of autonomy when it comes to this type of thing. And that's totally understandable too. So my goal is for January, and I'm putting it out there, which means it has to happen. And this program would be 100% online. It's basically like an online course. And so you pay your entry fee, and then I'm able to deliver the content 1 week at a time. So it's still going to be the same, duration. So you can't watch all the videos in 1 week and be done with it. It's a 6 week long program. And that one, obviously the meetings will be a little different because we don't have the group aspect when it comes to that program. So what I want to fill that with is just more awesome content. So I want to do videos that are educational. We're still going to do, the covering the foundations of nutrition. But I also want to add in, practical videos talking about like how to read labels for hidden sugars and, what to look for at the grocery store. And then I'm also putting this out there too. So this means that has to happen. My sister is actually a professional chef. And so I'm trying to wrangle her into filming some kitchen basics videos, because I've, another struggle that I hear from a lot of my clients is that eating this way does require a little bit more preparation and kitchen skills than maybe we're used to. So hopefully these videos will help with like knife skills and the fastest way to chop an onion, which I didn't know how to do until my sister taught me, and that's life-changing, just how to chop an onion fast. So I want to create a lot of content so that you feel supported, you feel educated, you've got that detox program set, and then that will obviously also have the Facebook group. So that way you do have that group support, that community to go to whenever you need. And the idea there is that I will be in the Facebook group weekly doing Facebook Lives, and so that you can come in and you can ask me questions, you can ask for support, we can share stories, and you still have all the support you need even though you're doing the program on your own.
That is so awesome. Just thinking about the whole knife skills, I'm totally blanking on the name of the place in Dallas. It was one of the food shares, but they had a little shop right there by Local Press in, oh my gosh, that's Oak Cliff. I'm totally blanking on it. But anyways,
I can see the Local Press.
I took a knife skills class there, and learning how to cut an onion was seriously life-changing.
Right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you wouldn't think that that's like something you have to learn. You just chop an onion, but when you learn how to do it the right way, all of a sudden you've saved 20 minutes. And
yeah. Oh, it was Urban Acres.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing though, Jennifer. You'll have to keep us posted when you release that so we can make an announcement on our podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited. It's been a lot of fun to work on. It's been a lot of work, but it's fun work. I love it so much.
Yeah. That's super cool. I know. I wish that we could, get this information out there to the masses, just spread it out there like a giant blanket on America so that people stop eating crap and they'll feel better.
I know. As I love taking one-on-one clients, and I think I will always do that because it's really a great connection, but I also feel so passionate about getting this information to as many people as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that class would be a super good outlet for that.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Very cool. Well, you mentioned one last quick question for you, because I know we're coming short on time here. I was looking at your website earlier, and you mentioned that you just love working with one-on-one clients. So I noticed on your website you had a quote on there that says, "The man who removes a mountain begins by carrying away small stones." And it's an old Chinese proverb. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about how that relates to your nutrition philosophy?
Yes. Oh my gosh. That quote, I mean, honestly, if I could lead with that to everyone, that's my coaching philosophy. It basically for me means that I take things one step at a time, because that's what has worked for me, and I've found that that's what works for my clients too. There is something to be said for a quick and efficient dietary overhaul. That's what my detox program is about, is getting there, kind of wiping the slate clean, starting fresh, and that's awesome. But it has to be sustainable, right? And so when I work with my clients one-on-one, we're usually digging a little deeper, and we're doing a lot more dietary changes than they may have ever done before in their life. And so I realized very quickly that I don't want to go into a consultation with a client with a long list of what they need to change today. I need you to eliminate gluten and dairy and refined carbs and grains, and I need you to add probiotics, and I need you to add beets, and I need you to drink, kombucha, 10, 12 different steps that they have to take. That's going to be really overwhelming. Obviously, if you can do that, if you're the type of personality who is like all or nothing, then you're going to get results real fast, and that's great. I have found that I think a lot of us, including myself, are so much more successful when we do one thing at a time. So for me, that was eliminating gluten first. And I did that a long time ago. And that's not true. I did not do that a long time ago. I started that process a long time ago. And I slowly became better and better about making choices that were gluten-free, essentially. Basically, I said, okay, I don't need this sandwich bread. I don't need this. So it took me, it was not an overnight change is what I'm trying to say. It was definitely a gradual change until it became a new normal for me. And that's the key. And that's what I tell my clients. So if we're working together for 3 months, I'm going to tell them, okay, I want you to make sure that you are drinking the right amount of water. And that is the only thing I'm going to tell you to do for this next week, maybe 2 weeks. And until you get the right amount of water in every single day, we're not taking the next step. So then they've got 2 weeks for that to become their new normal. And at 2 weeks, they're like, okay, that's easy. Done. Let's move on to the next step. So now I'm going to say, okay, now let's try eliminating gluten and see how you feel. So not only are they getting the right amount of water, now they've eliminated a potential food problem. And then 2 weeks later, they're like, oh, that's super easy. Got that down. That's a new habit. Let's move on to the next step. So I build and I add something new. And yes, the results may be a little slower and may take a little longer, but they're going to be sustainable. And I just feel so passionately about creating your new normal and taking it one step at a time and allowing your mind to adjust to it so that it's not such a feeling of deprivation. It just feels like that this is your choice now. And it's not nearly as hard as you thought it was going to be. And it seems to work. It worked for me. The clients that I've done that with are very grateful. You know, I have a specific client who has just above and beyond her results. Her results have been so incredible. And she has tried so many different things. You know, she has tried this diet and that diet and all of these things that didn't work. And this was the first time, she told me, this is the first time I've ever done a slow, gradual process like that. And she has continued to see results long after we stopped working together because these are now her new normal choices. And it's so much easier for her to maintain that way. It's been fun.
That is definitely going to be the quote from the show, the new normal.
Mm-hmm. The new normal, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Find your new normal. Develop these habits that make them easier. You know, it just makes life easier when they become a habit.
Mm-hmm. And I think too, so many people get caught up in like, oh, I have to do everything now. Like I just learned all this information and I have to do all of it right now. And then they're really good about it for like a week or two. And then they'll tell you, they're like, man, I was on point. I was meal prepping. I was drinking water. I was working out. I was doing everything right. And then it just became too much and I'm not doing any of it anymore.
Isn't that the truth? We are such a culture of extremes. Mm-hmm. Like that's the only way it's going to work is either all or nothing. And so I think we need to get out of that idea that it has to be that extreme, that we can make daily small choices that are going to affect our health so much better and so much like for the long run, as opposed to doing, like you said, that extreme dietary overhaul. And then a week later, you're like, this is way too hard. There's no way.
Yeah. So I love what you just said, because even for me too, when I see someone for the first time and they're just like, all this stuff is going on and their diet's terrible and they're not having any movement in their life, I'm just like, oh my gosh. So you could do this and this and this and this and this. You can feel better. And I promise it'll be great.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing like super overwhelming. So I really love this quote that you have on your site and kind of this philosophy that you follow, because it makes it bite-sized pieces for people to actually chew and digest, you know?
Exactly. Yes.
It gives them success.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's what works best. I really do.
I dig it. I super dig it.
I'm so glad.
Now, speaking of your website, tell us where people can find you.
Oh, yeah. My website is just my name. It's easy, jenniferostman.com. Jennifer spelled normally, and then Ostman is Ostman. And I use my name across everything. So social media is, my Instagram is Jennifer_Ostman_NTP. I've got a Jennifer Ostman NTP Facebook page. My email is jennifer@jenniferostman.com. So basically, if you know my name, you know how to reach me.
Awesome. And then that's where people can sign up for that next detox class? Or
yes. Yeah. So you can actually sign up directly on my website. If you go to my website, there is a little tab that says detox program, and just click there and you can go ahead and sign up. I also run a lot of discounts, coupon codes and that kind of thing. So if you follow me on Instagram, you can find either a giveaway contest, or I'll give out a code that if you bring along a friend, you both get a certain percentage off, that kind of thing. And if you sign up for my newsletter, then you get all of the updates. So, I'll let you know when the next detox program is going to start. I'll let you know when the online program's ready. I'm actually working on a free mini course that's going to be, it was actually inspired by those unexpected results from the detoxes, so the allergies, your mood, aging, that kind of thing. So all of the results that people didn't expect to see, I've put together in a mini course, and we kind of go over why, sugar causes those symptoms and what you can do about it. Hopefully that'll be available very soon. So sign up for my newsletter and you'll get that automatically as soon as it's ready.
Cool.
I love your newsletter. I subscribe. And
Thanks.
Yeah, I always read it. Yeah.
I do too.
It's good content. I'm always
it.
And there's little recipes in there. Yep, I dig it.
That makes me so happy. Thanks.
Yeah, fangirls over here.
That's awesome.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for being our guest today, Jennifer. We so enjoyed having you on. Thank you for all of the information that you shared with people, and for just all of the good that you're doing in the world.
Mm-hmm. Thank you guys so much. It's been a blast.
Yes, thank you so much, Jennifer. It was awesome having you.
Thank you.